What will the changes in Egypt's government mean for its economy, and what could it mean for economies throughout the Middle East? Joining us now on the phone is Harvard University professor Roger Owen. He specializes in the economic and political history of the Middle East, and he's the co-author of A History of the Middle East Economies in the 20th Century. Professor Owen, welcome to Bloomberg's Bottom Line. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Professor, my colleague Adam Johnson just asked a simple question. I guess it's a good place to start. Is the oil supply in that region safe?
Oh, I think it is, yes. I don't think it's anybody's interest to interrupt it, and certainly the new democracies, if they are going to emerge in places like in Egypt and Tunisia, will need all the foreign support and all the foreign revenue they can get to tide them over these first difficult years.
Professor Owen, we have seen little impact on oil and the price of oil. Why do you suppose that is?
I don't know. That's sort of outside my remit. I think it's probably to do with the supply and demand and general feelings of that kind. I don't think that there's any particular reason, as I say, to think that oil supplies going through the Suez Canal or from these countries which are in some sort of revolutionary transition are in any kind of difficulty. The only people, I think, who need to worry about are the Israelis who are getting cheap natural gas from Egypt, and there may be some desire to renegotiate that contract.
Professor, at least in the interim, we do see that the army is in control in Egypt. What might that mean for the economy, at least in the short term?
Well, I think in the short term, whoever is in power, where they have to respond to popular pressures, will have to do something about jobs, very likely to have to continue subsidies in order to prevent further public demands breaking out in that area. I think they're more likely to be protectionist. I think they're more likely to have a look at existing contracts and so on with foreign countries.
Professor, just a moment ago you mentioned Israel, and one of the concerns out of this unrest was that 30-year plus peace treaty with Egypt. Might we see a reversal of normalization? The army has said that it will abide by the treaty.
No, I don't think there'll be a reversal of normalization. I think there will just be a questioning of what existing economic ties there are between Israel and its Arab neighbors. And in some cases, I think projects for further normalization in that area might well be put on hold.
Professor, the economic problems that led to this unrest in the first place, what must Egypt do to address that?
Well, I think it's two things. One is there's a world economic problem of high wheat prices at the moment over which it has no particular control. But the other thing is that it has to make sure that it uses its own resources as best it can as far as water and other things are concerned.
Right. And Professor, in our last 30 seconds, any concerns that this is something that could cause a crippling of economies in the Middle East?
No, I don't think there's any particular likelihood of that. I think there will just be economic change and a reconsideration of the existing patterns of growth.
All right. Harvard University professor Roger Owen specializes in the economic and political history in the Middle East, co-author of A History of the Middle East Economies in the 20th Century. Professor, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
You're most welcome.